Thusa Helena. And I'm with Soullight. That's Soll. Hello. This is Reverend Dr. Anthusa Helena, and I am the founder and owner of Soullight. That's www.sollite.com. Soullight is for healing and conscious awakening. For more detailed information on private sessions and training programs, log on to soullight.com. And also, while you're there is a free complimentary one-page meditation download, which I feel is very helpful all the time, but especially right now during these trying challenges times. Now, my topic today is on pain and suffering. We will all have pain and suffering in our lifetime, but suffering to the extreme is optional. So I want to give you the first half of this lecture will be researched, scientific and medical factual information. Oh, there's a lot to cover. But the second half, if you'll bear with me and stay long enough, will be an actual experiential exercise to help you not be in such extreme pain and suffering during these pandemic times, but always helpful in other situations as well. Now, Soullight focuses on healing the illusion of separation. It is the duality that gets us into trouble. However, our brain is hardwired, and our makeup as human beings is paradoxical and is in duality. It was set up that way for all mammals, of which humans are, as a survival instinct to keep us in safety and out of danger. First, let me explain healing and conscious awakening, which is what I focus on in my holistic psychotherapy practice. Holistic meaning it covers all areas of our being: physical, mental, emotional, energetic, and spiritual. I have been in practice for 43 years. I have a doctorate in divinity, and I am both state and nationally certified, licensed as a mental health counselor and massage therapist. So you can't really have healing without conscious awakening, and also vice versa, because as you awaken, you heal yourself. But as you work to heal yourself, you obviously as well raise your frequency and vibration and your consciousness level, which means you're evolving and awakening. So it's just a matter of which doorway you're actually entering to get the optimal well-being and health of healing and spiritually evolving conscious awakening. Now, awareness is curative. This was stated by a famous founder of Gestalt therapy, Fritz Perls. It is a fact that consciousness is a very transforming element for healing and for awakening. So the more you become conscious, the more you heal. And as I stated before, the more you work on your healing, you become evolved and conscious as well. Now, this may sound a little interesting or may trigger some of the audience because it all actually is very simple, but at the same time complex, because consciousness is paradoxical, which the ego self simply cannot understand because it operates more with the mind, and the mind will never comprehend this idea of releasing the ego self and becoming more awakened. Now, with that fact, and then adding on the innate hardwiring structure of our human brain, it becomes a little bit more challenging. But again, I want to emphasize it's simple, which you will understand more as I go on and give you some factual information and then the exercise at the end. Now, Dr. Hans Selye was an endocrinologist, a medical doctor, and a scientific researcher. He, in the early 1950s, discovered the stress response model, but he also saw this area in the brain that is in duality and separation, again, being the way that we're made up. He named that OAA, the Orientation Association Area, which allowed us to realize that there was a personal self and then outwardly and inwardly another self, which creates separation. When we are in early ages of being born, we are in unity as we come into this world. You can simply see that when you look at babies that are born. You look at their faces and they're so beautiful and bright and peaceful, and you wonder as you watch them develop, which usually happens between the ages of 3 and 5, that they get their own ego personalities because they start to become aware as they developmentally evolve and grow that there is a separate self. They identify with I'm me and you are you, as well as objects. They look at the toy and say, I'm different from that toy, and that is separate. It's an object. So I think you understand what I'm following what I'm talking about. Now, with going back to the stress response model, I just want to show you an example of what happens when we get stressed. And I mentioned this because we need to stay calm for our immunity to stay resistant. So as soon as we get stressed out, our immunity starts to go down and our defenses become low, which at this particular time in our era with the COVID-19 virus out there, it's most important to keep your immune system working at optimal and as highly beneficial that you can. So here's what happens when you trigger that nervous system response, the stress response model. You get a rapid heart rate, and your breathing starts to become fast as well. You get an increase in blood pressure and also in your adrenal system because it's starting to give you more oxygen and blood flow shunted to your muscles, preparing you to run away from the dinosaur or the bear or the danger that you're feeling at that moment in time. Your digestion slows down and sometimes even stops because you need all that energy to go to your thighs, your arms, to defend yourself. Your body and nervous system start to tremble. And these are just to mention a few of what happens to your physical body and affects your thoughts, your mind, and emotions when you enter that fight, flight, or freeze stress response model. Now, as I go on, I will talk more about how Dr. Hans Selye developed some options for us to be able to override this and stay calm. That'll be more down right before the exercise you'll experience. Hold on. Thank you. Now, Buddha stated, you reach nirvana through samsara. Those of you that are not familiar with Buddhism, it just means that you awaken and become enlightened or have unity consciousness, whatever word you want to use, connection with the source, the cosmic mind. And so we suffer in that process. Samsara is just our daily life experience, which we cannot avoid as human beings. Nobody is going to get out of this incarnate life without some degree of pain and suffering. And that's what samsara means. But see, these are good things in a way because it helps us, gives us a signal that it's an opportunity for us to pay attention to what's going on and to make some lifestyle changes and also to stay alive and in safety, which again is an opportunity for us to evolve and raise our consciousness. Now, stress is the root cause of illness, and toxic stress causes despair and eventually death. The brain and nervous system get affected through cumulative stress. Cumulative meaning you just can't handle any more stress as it gets piled up on another POW and another POW, and you keep getting hit with different areas of situation that is causing you stress. At that time, when you can't handle it anymore, your brain starts to become damaged, along with other health issues that arise. Now, of course, we want to avoid that in happening. When chronic stress like this keeps happening and accumulating, it then in psychotherapy becomes a post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, much of this is due to trauma in however way it happens to you. Some of us have had early childhood trauma or later on in life some situations that have caused us harm and abuse. And just even dealing with these kind of worldly situations presently with worrying about what's happening with ourselves, our loved ones, the news and the world that you watch every day and see people being displaced and the food being in danger and the economic despair that people are in. And it just, causes humanity to suffer, which again, we can't avoid. But we do have the option to change our perspective and our attitude and stay a bit more in a calmer state, which again, I will talk about with the exercise. Good news is the brain is plastic, so it can revive and be rewired. In psychology, this is called neuroplasticity. And some of you may know this as positive psychology or rewiring the brain from negative thinking to positive thinking. So, sources of pain and suffering, which I've already mentioned a few, come from our inner and outer conflict, which we all have an inner war as a human being. This inner war and conflict comes from our conditioned patterns and habits, which we gain throughout our lifetimes through belief systems and, as I said before, trauma. It also comes from the mass collective consciousness. We are all one, we are all whole. So even though we're individualized, we get affected by the collective consciousness or the human psyche, as well as your ancestral line and your culture. For instance, they talk about when you come in with genetic coding and DNA from your family. American Indians talk about that it's 7 generations. Some say it's even more. So if your mother or grandmother or father went through the Depression and had economic hardships, or they say things like, cancer runs in the family, this is what I mean by ancestral. Now, here's another important thing that a lot of people just don't get to it, is that what causes pain and suffering as well is the narrative of your personal story. If you keep repeating your trauma in your mind or talking about it for any length of time, you're re-looping that energy and recreating imprints in your cellular memory and your energy fields that actually is doing more harm than good. So I'm not saying don't get help if you're working on post-traumatic stress or having so much depression or anxiety that you need to see a psychotherapist or a mental health counselor or even a medical doctor. Do do that. It's important to ask for help and get community support. But there is a point in time when you need to stop. After you've gotten all this help and you've understood your makeup and what brought you to this place in your lifetime, start to allow yourself to let go of that story. Because the more you repeat that story, the more again you're re traumatizing yourself. Now, a lot of people may not agree with this and also may get triggered, like what I said before with some things. But anyway, all these sources of pain and suffering need to be broken free from. And what I mean by that is what's happening in your inner world needs to be brought to the light of consciousness with awareness. And when that happens, you actually do free yourself of of these continuing negative thoughts, images, feelings inside that are causing stress. And that's what I do with my work. Excuse me again, one moment. Now, I just want to intercede a little bit here. I have co-authored a book 2 years ago with 11 other people who are experts in healing from sexual trauma and abuse, and then went on in their lives to create gifts and talents from their experience of healing themselves or going through their own healing journey to offer and assist to the world and humanity. So I am not just speaking to you and giving you facts and information. I am one of those survivors from a very early age, before that 3 to 5 year period, which was molding my conditioned habits, my belief systems, and storing my trauma experiences in my brain and in my cellular memory and makeup. So, since I've been personally through this experience and now offering what I offer, details again on my website, to assist and help people, that is what I do, and that is my passion. What my desire is, it's to help guide and inspire you so you don't waste all your time in life on healing or endlessly creating new ways of self-improvement. Again, not saying that self-improvement is bad at all, but there is a time, again, like the narrative of your story, that you need to stop doing that and just live your life and your gifts and talents and give them back to humanity, because this is essential to help other humans, and it is your divine purpose to do so. Again, everybody's journey takes whatever time it needs to take. I'm not saying rush through your healing process or your awakening process. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying there comes a time when you need to just not do that anymore. So, personally, I wasted too much time on my healing journey, and I also wasted time on self-judgment, negative thoughts. And while I was doing that, continuously judging others, judging myself, having negative thoughts, I was hurting not only others, but I also was hurting myself. And again, it's my desire to help others not have to go through that long period of time, both, for your own emotional well-being and health, but also financially. That took a lot of years and a lot of money for me. And, right now, things are pretty tight for everybody, not just some individuals. So, back to belief systems, beliefs and conditioned patterns. Let me just tell you, 60 to 80,000 thoughts we have per day. That breaks down to 2,500 to 3,300 thoughts per hour. Now, not all those thoughts are positive. So that's a lot of thinking in one day or in 1 hour that our human brain goes through. All these thought forms contain energy beliefs inside us with imprints of what has happened to us. And all these imprints and beliefs have emotional reactions attached to them. So each thought has an emotional reaction. So that's a lot for you to just sit with and digest at this moment. Now, the good news is pain, wherever it is, usually all of you, body, mind, spirit, energy, is an important signal. I mentioned this before. The signal is attempting to get your attention and give you a message. So pain is like a stop sign saying, whoops, stop, I'm trying to get your attention. I'm trying to get a message to you. This is from your soul. The soul has an individual language. So if you get a pain in your body, stop and listen to it. Inquire within yourself, what is that about? And listen to the message it wants to give you. So in this, it is a gift. It is an opportunity to grow spiritually, to heal, to awaken. Remember, pain, suffering, signal, gift, opportunity. The more good news is that 90 to 95% of our suffering is optional. That's a huge percentage. And are you believing me that I say that it's optional? You don't have to, but it is. It's all in the attitude in which you internally and externally live life, experience life. Life gives us these messages and these signals. Now, I say it's optional because, in a sense, it's telling you that you are in misalignment with reality. So, I mean by this, so often when we're suffering, what we're really experiencing is a conflict between what we perceive internally and externally as reality and the way reality actually is. That's where the conflict becomes a struggle, a pain, a suffering. We're misreading, misaligning what reality really is. We're perceiving it wrong. When those bump up against us, they create a physical, emotional, and psychological pain. It creates that inner war, that inner struggle. Now, here's some more facts. Physically, there are two hormones that are released in the suffering process. One that actually numbs the pain, and one that actually energizes you because you're in a fight or flight response. So your adrenaline is awakened and increased. So now you have all this energy, but you're also numbing yourself at the same time because you don't really, at some level, want to feel it to the intensity that it's arising. Both are part, like I said, of the fight or flight or freeze response. That's the stress response model. The nervous system reaction gives a sense of being out of control. Do you feel that right now? And it can come in an unconscious way to avoid and escape highly uncomfortable feelings. These two hormones I talked about, they numb you because you want to escape feeling this way. You don't want to feel uncomfortable. You don't want to feel out of control. You don't want to face the reality, the actual reality. But you can't deal with something that you don't acknowledge or that you're hiding from. So remember that. It's the awareness that's curative. So simply ask the question, who is it that is suffering? These are the moments in time when the pain really arises and it's giving you that signal. Sit with yourself because this is an inside job. Nobody's out there to rescue you. Nobody's going to save you. Your government's not going to save you. And even sometimes the medical field cannot save you. So you need to be responsible. You don't have to be. I'm just saying if you don't want to suffer so much and you would like to spiritually grow and evolve while you're here and give your gifts and talents to the world and finally heal some of these false illusions, it's best for you to go inside. I'm suggesting that. So when you're having that suffering, that signal, quiet yourself. Go inside. Ask yourself, who is it that's suffering? What can I learn from each bit of suffering? Or what can I learn in this moment from this signal of pain and suffering? It's there within you that lies the help, that lies the answer, and your situation can change in that moment, and it will. I'm starting to prepare for the experiential exercise at the moment. That was part of phase 1. Now, to explain, I'm going to right now introduce the STOP method, which is something that I've developed for my trainings with integrative medicine. This goes and includes some of what Dr. Salye had talked about to help the stress response in the body. I just developed and put together some of his suggestions in my own way through my own trainings. So he suggested rewiring the brain, which we talked about earlier. That means positive thinking as opposed to negative thinking. You just have to be attentive to when those negative thoughts come up, that you switch your focus. Your soul does not talk to you with negativity. Your soul is never judgmental of you. So when you have these things happen, you are having a signal that you are in misalignment with reality, and your soul and spirit is trying to tell you that. So we need to really learn to listen again, because it's within our heart that all the answers are there. It's inside of us, because we are divine beings having a human experience. Dr. Salye also said meditation and prayer helps alleviate the stress reaction. He also mentioned cranial sacral adjustments. Now, I just happen to be a cranial sacral therapist. I worked for Dr. John Upledger in his head trauma spinal cord injury rehab center for 11 years. And I was also a teacher of cranial sacral therapy. So right now, I developed the STOP method. I want to show you the cranial bones I'm talking about when I say stop, S-T-O-P. We're starting our experience, but I'm giving you a little prep work before. So I'm going to go backwards because when I open up this head, it's hard for me to put it back together. There it is. So parietals, these are cranial bones going backwards with the stop. This is the top of your head. If you can see that, I'm trying to get it in. So it's the crown of your head, right back here, parietal bones. The O going backwards and stop is down at the bottom of your head where your neck meets your spinal column, or your head meets your neck or your shoulders. And this is your foramen magnum, which your nervous system and endocrine system, messages from the brain, like wires, but they're nerves, come down into your spinal column and then shoots out of your vertebral column to all parts of your body, giving messages and signals to every organ, every muscle, every tissue, every cell. So that's your occiput. Going backwards, stop, temporal bones. Everybody knows the temporal bones. They're, whoops, my fingers are over it. There it is, right here. It's really right here that everybody knows your temporal bones. You get a temporal headache. It's right by the eyes, the little indentation there on the side of the head. It's hard because it's backwards when I'm doing a video. There you go. The brown, if you can tell the color. Now, stop, the first word, the first letter in stop, S. Your head is going to come apart. The top of your head and the bottom of your head is held together by a joint in the middle of your head, in the middle of the brain. It's known as the spheno-basilar joint. It's actually a joint in the middle of your head, right between your eyebrows, right between the top of your head that goes down straight through. Now, I just took the top of the head off, and you can see I've made that in red, and it looks like butterfly wings, or actually even the thyroid gland looks like that. So right in the middle here, there you go, right there in the middle of your head is the OAA that Dr. Salye talked about, the orientation association area. It's also where the amygdala and the hippocampus are held, as well as the pineal pituitary and some other important glandular organs and structures of the brain. I mentioned this because the amygdala is where we hold all our emotions and reactions to all our thoughts and traumas. The hippocampus is where we hold all our belief systems and conditioned habits. So it's very important to pay attention to this place in your head. Remember, stop, spheno-basilar joint, T, temporal bones, O, occiput, and P, parietals. Now, I mentioned this because the first part of this exercise is the cranial bone adjustments that Dr. Salye talked about. Now, unless you're going to a cranial sacral therapist, I'm just going to give you an energetic idea as we go into meditation and prayer. I want you to open up all those areas. Just imagine. Now, we're energy beings anyway, so don't think this is ridiculous and impossible for you to do on your own. Just kind of energetically think about lifting the top of your head, which is your parietals, just kind of creating space. Lifting the side of your head, expanding it, your temporal bones covers all of this. Just make space. Dropping and opening the bottom of your head where your neck and shoulders meet, creating space. So you're creating space at the top, space at the bottom, space at the sides. And what we're actually doing is we open those up because they're held together by sutures. Just like joints are held together by ligaments and tendons, we want to separate those sutures. We want to open up the head and expand it. We want to get to that middle, in the center of the head, in the middle of the head, to that joint, the spheno-basilar joint that holds all our illusion of separation, our conditioned habits, belief systems, and traumas that create stress within themselves. Okay, if you'd like to now, you can just stay and pay attention and listen if you'd like. But I'm going to now just lead you through the rest of the 3 parts of the experiential exercise. The first part was what I just covered with you about opening up and adjusting the head and the cranial bones. The second phase is a passive meditation, and it's steps to prepare you for meditation. The next phase will be an active prayer, which are utilized by divine qualities of light, sound, codes, which also include color. When they enter, they raise your frequency and vibration and assist you to calm down, to awaken, and to bring in light. I'm going to run through 3 qualities as we get to that phase, but I'm going to explain them to you right now so you understand what they are. First one is Anur. It's the original light of the universe. Just like Om is the original sound of the universe. Anur, I will repeat that 19 times when we get into the active prayer. It's a frequency and a vibration and a quality of light. It's the original light of creation. The second quality, sound, is al-jami. It means the gatherer, translating it. And what that does is we have two hemispheres in our brain. Because it's a gatherer, it unites and unifies the two hemispheres of our brain. And also, if you think energetically, if you're into that, it unites our masculine and female energy within ourselves, which in yoga, we really are only one energy. They separate the energies, name them as Ida and Pingala, but in union, they go up into the Shoshana, which is the main channel of the uh, spinal column into the top of your head, which they talk about as opening up the lotus blossom, or the lotus into enlightenment, into unity. So this is what Jami does. Last one I will repeat quality is al-alim, and that is means translated the all-knowing. And what that does is opens up the third eye, or that place in the middle of the head, spheno-basilar joint, opens it up more, and then connects it and unites it with your heart. So your heart really is the doorway to your soul and your spirit. So we now want to, after we've calmed down the stress response model, we want to now connect the united mind with the heart space so that we can start to travel or connect stronger with our own soul. All right, so again, you can just keep listening or sit back and relax. You can even lie down, close your eyes as I go through the meditation steps with you, and then the prayer action. First step of meditation phase is stop. Let go of struggling by coming to a moment of pause. Stop everything that you're doing. Then breathe. The breathing helps you send a message to your brain, nervous system, your body to start to relax and open. I usually do 3 phases of breathing. 3 full body inhalations. So inhale once fully, all the way down to your abdomen, your pubic bone. Expand that breath into your belly, your solar plexus, into your lungs, your shoulders. Expand your ribs. Breathe like you're filling up a balloon. Your whole body expanding, front, back, side to side, top to bottom. And then exhale fully in the same way. Just let go of all that breath you just filled your body with. Again, second round, inhale fully to your toes, to your head, into your energy fields, and then contract, exhale fully. Last time, take a deep breath in again, fully into all parts of your being. Expand as far as you can into your energy fields and into the cosmos. Allow yourself to breathe the cosmic mind. And then exhale fully once again. Now it's a natural way of nature to expand and contract. Next phase is surrender. By surrender, I mean let go of everything. Let it just be the way it is in your inner and outer world. If you have an image, a thought, a picture, a feeling, don't try to fight it. Just let it be as it is. If your environment is noisy or the phone is ringing, just let it be as it is. The distraction is part of your meditation. Whatever way it shows itself, surrender. Let everything be as it is. Next phase, let go. Deeper layer of surrender. Let go of any holding, any avoiding of whatever's happening at the moment, any grasping of trying to do meditation correctly or trying to get somewhere, or even trying to get rid of a thought. Let it be, let go. Let go of deeper layers of muscle tension. Let go of any emotions and thoughts. They're going to change. They're just going to be like clouds in the sky. They will constantly change as they arise. They'll move on and they won't be there anymore. So your emotions, thoughts, anything that happens, just let it be. The idea of the Buddha says, don't invite it in for tea. Be aware of it and let it go. Let go of trying to figure anything out. If you can let go of trying to figure things out, you've accomplished a huge goal in healing and awakening. Last part of meditation step is abide. What I mean by abide is rest in the recognition of awareness. Just rest in that silence, in that stillness, in the truth of who you really are. And as you rest in that awareness, be aware of what inside that opens up to you and for you and from you. In what that opens you up to. Now the more active part of the meditation, the prayer element. You can just listen to these qualities, feel the difference of their frequency and vibration. I want to mention here that in medical Qigong, if you say these things out loud, it works on your physical body. If you whisper them, it works on your energetic body. If you say it silently in your mind, it works with your soul and spirit. For sound, divine light sound codes. Anor, 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 nor, nor. Allow yourself to feel that frequency and vibration of that quality. Just perceive with your intuitive sense feeling. Next quality, Jami, the gatherer. Al Jami, 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 Al Jami. Be aware of that frequency, resonance, and vibration, unifying the two hemispheres of your brain. Last prayer, divine quality light sound code, opening the third eye, connecting with your heart, the all-knowing. Al-Alim, 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 Al-Alim. Feel that difference in that frequency and vibration. Now rest in silence and stillness in this remembrance of the truth of who you really are. In ending, to remind you life is a process, often out of our own control, and we do have to go through it. There's no choice. To stay more healthy and positive, to heal and consciously awakening awaken yourself, evolve. It's an inside job. It's an individual journey. No one can take it for you. But do know you're not alone. All of humanity is in this together, and all of humanity takes this journey, whether people share this with you or not, or whether they accept it within themselves or not. We all, as Buddha said, nobody escapes this incarnate life. Suffering is part of the human existence. But we do have an option to what degree and intensity we allow ourselves to remain in pain and suffering. Remember, pain is a signal and a gift, an opportunity for us to grow spiritually, to heal and evolve, and ultimately awaken. And in return, give our gifts and talents to humanity, whatever they may be, your own divine soul purpose. If you need help, reach out to someone for help and support. You're worth it, so do it. Remain strong. Persevere. Stay in community. Be kind and have mutual respect for others, and that includes yourself. Thank you for the opportunity for me to share with you today. Stay well, be safe. From my heart to yours, be blessed and enjoy. Thank you.